Nike, the world's largest shoe brand, was founded in 1964 by Phil Knight, who was a track athlete at the University of Oregon, and his coach Bill Bowerman. In over 50 years, Nike evolved from a two-person team to the world's most popular and largest footwear and sporting goods company. While doing his MBA at the Stanford University, Knight wrote a paper for his entrepreneurship class. He proposed that just as Japanese cameras challenged the dominance of German firms in the camera market in the 50s, it could do the same in the American shoe market, which at that point was dominated by two German companies, Adidas and Puma. Since Knight was a running enthusiast, the assignment turned into an obsession and he started calling it his crazy idea. Apart from being a sports enthusiast, Knight was fond of seeing the world. So in 1962, he sold his car, a 1960 MG, and went on a world tour. While visiting Japan, Knight met with the executives at Onitsuka Tigers, a Japanese sports shoe company, and asked them to sell their shoe to the American consumers through him. When the executives at Onitsuka asked what company Knight worked for, he said Blue Ribbon Sports, a brand name that he just made up on the spot. Onitsuka agreed to distribute Tigers through Blue Ribbon Sports in America and promised to send 12 pairs of shoes immediately. However, he actually received the samples after almost a year. Upon receiving the sample, he sent 2 pairs of shoes to his track coach Bill Bowerman, hoping that he will buy some pairs for his track team. Bowerman was a true shoe enthusiast and was famous for experimenting with his track team's shoes with the goal of making them lighter. Bowerman saw potential in the inexpensive Japanese shoes and offered to partner up. Phil agreed, and both partners invested $500 in Blue Ribbon Sports. The partners ordered $1,000 worth of shoes at $3.33 a pair. This time, the shoes arrived right away. Knight turned his parents' home basement to Blue Ribbon's warehouse and started selling the shoe from the trunk of his car. He would go to track meets to talk to potential buyers and learn what they needed from a sports shoe. Because of their cool design, good quality, and inexpensive price tag, Onitsuka Tigers were a quick hit, and Knight sold all pairs in 2 months. Blue Ribbon didn't just sell shoes, it innovated as well, and the brains behind the innovation was Bowerman. He experimented with the Japanese shoes and shared his designs and modifications with his Japanese counterparts. Though initially reluctant, Onitsuka finally made prototypes for the Bowerman's version of American shoes. One of the shoes that Bowerman designed was Cortez. The Cortez was so successful that a sales staff at Blue Ribbon described the customers as Cortez addicts. Although Blue Ribbon's sales doubled every year, executives at Onitsuka thought that the American market had more potential. So they sought bigger distributions for the American market. Seeing Onitsuka slip out of hands, Phil contacted a huge Japanese trading company to finance Blue Ribbon's own line of shoes. To differentiate the new line from Adidas and Onitsuka, Blue Ribbon needed a new brand. So he contacted Corolyn Davis, an art student at Portland State University, whom Knight had met while he was working as an assistant professor there. Corolyn sketched some symbols, and one of them was a chubby check mark. Phil accepted it and paid her a sum of $35. For brand name, Phil wanted to call the new line Dimension 6, but most of his employees didn't like it. One day, a company employee suggested the name Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, and said that the name came to him in a dream. Since the shoe factory were to start the production immediately, Phil and his team agreed, and thus the brand Nike was born. Nike was officially introduced by Blue Ribbon in the 1972 National Sporting Goods Association show in Chicago. Nike was packaged differently in bright neon orange boxes, which was very different from the standard blue and black shoe packages of the time. Another major event the same year was the Summer Olympics trials, which was organized in Oregon. Phil Knight took full advantage of the event and distributed Nike shoes and t-shirts to all athletes for free who wanted to wear them. Nike had also redefined the legendary Cortez and rebranded it as Nike Cortez. Around the same time, Bowerman designed another shoe named Nike Waffle, which improved traction significantly. The shoe was called Waffle because Bowerman used his wife's waffle iron to create the squared studs of the sole. Nike Cortez and Nike Waffle are considered key to Nike Incorporation's success. With increasing sales, Phil Knight started to pay attention to the yet neglected field of marketing, and in 1973 hired Steve Prefontaine, an athlete who trained under Bill Bowerman, as Blue Ribbon's first endorser for $5,000. Pre was notorious for his rebellious personality, which helped make Nike a symbol of rebellion and irreverence. Realizing that most of the consumers often base their purchase decision on the preference of a small percentage of top athletes, Nike made endorsements a cornerstone of its marketing strategy. Over the years, Nike signed some of the most iconic athletes and sports stars to solidify its brand authority. Between 2002 and 2012, Nike spent a total of $8 billion on endorsements. Today, Nike has become the world's largest supplier of sports shoes, apparels, and equipment with annual revenues of $40 billion. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and share the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll meet next week with a new video. Until then, goodbye.